going everyone, this is Trixx from Maje Smash, and welcome to a brand new video. Game 6 is a series that revolves around those one-on-one conversations between players who are trying to develop a better mental understanding of the game. And here, I take your questions and try my absolute best to give you guys the valuable information and advice needed to become a better player. But before we get started with today's question, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to everyone who has been supporting the Medal of Smash campaign or project. For those of you who don't know, I have been trying to put together a new project for you guys as far as making some music that you guys are going to be able to use in montages for your videos or anything like that. I'm going to be doing the style of metal. You can see the guitars here and there. So if you are someone who's interested in supporting that, there are links in the description below so you can do so. And so with that, let's get into today's Game 6 question. So this question comes from Right Honorable Reverend Horton, whose question is essentially saying, how do I practice ledge trapping? That's going to be the first half of it. And the other part is, how do I use my movement better for bait and punish? So first things first, when you're practicing your ledge trapping, there are going to be two different ways that you can actually go about this. The first one is going to be in real time, and the other one is going to be in staging. So first we're going to talk about real time. When it comes to practicing your ledge trapping in real time, number one thing is you 100% need to be practicing this against a human or a real player. If you try and do this against an Arduino, if you try and do this against a computer player, it's not going to work because they don't obviously think, and you can't condition a computer player. So obviously I try and do this against a human. So kind of going with the other video I did, the first one, if you haven't seen that, go check that out as well, talking about reading some of these habits. It's going to be a lot of the same type of thing. So first things first is you have to pay attention to your character's kit and do they have any items that they can use in aiding them when they're trying to ledge trap. And honestly, that's a lot simpler for a lot of players to do, and that's why those characters are more so known as ledge trapping characters. But I want to cater this question more so to characters that don't have that luxury, who genuinely need to try and react. Because of course, just putting a bomb on the ledge and then standing there and waiting or hiding behind a tree or anything like that is a lot easier than if you're playing as, let's say, Lucina or Fox or something like that, where you have to try and be in the right place at the right time. So when you're trying to ledge trap as one of these characters, I'm going to use Lucina as the example. This is a character obviously has no projectiles or any type of items they can put on the ledge. They genuinely have to try and react or cover things with reads. So if you're trying to do that with a character like Lucina, the number one thing you're going to want to do is see how your opponent reacts based on where you're standing on stage. If you're standing right at the ledge, what do they do? If you're standing back at roll distance, what do they do? If you're jumping in place, what do they do? Every single thing that you do is going to influence how they react to getting back on stage. And so with this, you have to try and condition yourself to recognize certain situations and then try your best to replicate those situations again. So for example, if every single time that you stand at roll distance, your opponent gets up on stage, shields, and then jumps, that is incredibly important for you to recognize and try to punish the next time it happens, or try your best to replicate that situation, saying to yourself, okay, if I stand here, this is a good chance that this is what they're going to do. And of course, with ledge trapping, nothing is 100%. You can really only try your best to read what your opponent is going to do or what you think they're going to do. But let's say, for example, they get up, like I said, into neutral get up, shield, and then jump. You should know in advance, way in advance, before you've even started the game, if the situation happens, what are you personally going to do to cover that option? So there's a lot of different answers you could have, and depending on the character that you're fighting and the height that they jump, and if they have any specials or anything that could potentially use as like a command grab to pull you off stage or counter you or anything like that, these are other things that to take into consideration. But what are you going to do if you get that situation to unfold? Like I said, you should know well in advance. So are you going to full hop fair? Are you going to full hop nair? Are you going to do an empty hop and try and get your opponent to air dodge or use their double jump so that you can get a juggle situation on stage or potentially catch them with like an F smash? All of this is really up to you and your play style. There's no one right, absolute best thing to do. There are a multitude of different situations that can unfold, and realistically, based on your character, and let's say you are using Lucina, let's say you want to get like a full hop RAR back air to catch a jump from ledge, or a neutral get up into shield and you know they're going to jump, so you want to try and catch them with a RAR back air. That should not be part of your read. Your read should not be to do a RAR back air to punish a jump. The idea should be you're going to punish a jump and you want to have your RAR back air already on deck. It's like, if they jump, no matter what, I'm doing a RAR back air, because you know for a fact from labbing this or practicing this against a friend, when you have the situation, it works. And I'll give you guys another example. Something that's very common that a lot of players do to get off the ledge is letting go of the ledge, using their double jump, and fairing on stage. So with regards to punishing that, you should already have something in mind with your character to say, if this is something that they like to do, if I stand at, let's say, neutral get up or get up attack range, this is what I'm going to do to punish they're fair on stage. So in a lot of cases, if it's a character that has a disjoint or something like Samus's fair or like a lingering hitbox, you should know in advance, okay, do I have a disjoint? Should I be going for a tether grab if I have a tether grab? Should I be going for a dash attack or a dash back F smash? All of these different answers you should have well in advance, not even just matchup specifically, but even the scenario specific, so you can make sure that once you get this read, you're not still losing the interaction because you chose the wrong move. And you should also be asking yourself, what is the best move based on the scenario that I'm in? If they're at 0%, what do I want to do to punish this option? If they're at 100% or even higher, whatever kill percent you want, do you even have a move that could potentially just outright kill them? Do you have to try and reset the situation? Do you want to try and hit them across the entire stage? Do you want to get a grab because you have a kill throw? All these things you should have well in advance. So let's say, for example, if your opponent jumps on stage with a fair, are you going to just dash up and shield and wait for them to land on your shield and then up smash or up B out of shield? If that's what you want to do, or if that's the best thing your character has, that's what you should be trying to go for to punish. And to try and give you a couple of different examples of how you could even punish a fair on stage, let's just say the character fairing on stage is Samus. So if you're playing as Incineroar, you might want to go for a dash back side B. If you're playing as Roy or Chrom, you might want to go for a dash back F smash. If you're playing as Young Link, you might want to go for a pivot grab or just dash back into grab for a forward throw, potentially to get a kill. Or if you're playing as Breath of the Wild Link, you might want to dash forward or walk forward, shield, let them land on your shield, and then go for an up B or an up smash. So you can see there are potentially a bunch of different inputs you could be doing based on your character that's going to give you the best result. So those are a couple of different examples of things you can think of outside the game that you can bring into the game and use them in real time to see how people react to these situations. And for part 2, which would be the staging aspect of it, this is when you're going to want to use a partner and say to them, okay, I want to see, for example, how far does your get up attack reach? Or how high do you jump? Or how far do you roll with certain characters? This is going to be a lot more laser focused on matchup specific things. So for example, if you're saying, I want to punish someone's get up attack with an F smash, where on the stage can I stand where they would believe that they could hit me, but I know based on my labbing that I'm just out of reach, and I can bait them into going for a get-up attack and then hitting them with an F smash while they're in lag. I think there are charts or tier lists or whatever you want to call it online that show you the maximum range and shortest range of every single character's get-up attack in the game. So for example, I know that Bowser has the longest range, and then I think Breath of the Wild has the second longest range, and then you have characters, I think it's Toon Link, Squirtle, and like Snake for no reason. They all have really short get up attacks, but it gives you the whole spectrum of everybody's. And if you take a look at the stage, for example, I know we're talking about specifically ledge trapping, but right here I'm going to use the example of get up attack. If you look at the stage, there are designs obviously on the stage to make it look good and whatever, but you can also use these designs as markers to say, if I stand here, I will be 1 pixel out of range to get hit in this matchup, and I can punish incredibly hard. So for those of you that don't know, you can take a stage like Battlefield, for example, and you can look on the stage, on the ground, and there are like gold swirls, or there's bricks being laid, or just like designs or whatever, and you can use those as markers to genuinely look at and say, okay, like I said before, if you stand in this spot, you won't get hit against this character. This is the range that you can cover with the move that you want to use. Same thing goes for Smashville or Town and City. If you look along the edge of the stage, you can see the little, I think they're yellow dots, or kind of like an off yellow dot, and you can count them and use them as a way of measuring where you're standing. Of course, this might seem incredibly tedious, but once you've done this and you actually start to use this a lot more, it doesn't seem nearly as bad. And there are characters out there, for example, like Meta Knight's F Smash, which can hit the ledge on some characters, but you have to have outrageously good spacing. You can't be too far, can't be too close. Same thing with like Joker's down smash, same thing, you have to have really good spacing. And if you know where these marks are on the stage well in advance, it won't feel like luck that you happen to be in the right place. And I can use Joker in this example. If you put your back foot on the black line of PS2 and down smash, you can 2-frame with it. I don't know why I know this, but I just do. And I've done the labbing, and these are the things that even pro players 100% know, especially with their character, that if they stand in this spot and they're trying to accomplish this certain thing, it will work, provided that their execution is good. And so with regards to staging, you can do this pretty well infinitely. You can do it with every single character on all the legal stages in any matchup you want. And I wouldn't get too crazy with it and potentially overwhelm yourself, but do it with the matchups that you know for sure are very important. You should know things like Lucina's get-up attack, Fox's get-up attack. You should know most of the top tier characters' roll distances or how high they jump. If they jump on stage with a certain move, can you punish it with your move? If they jump on stage and do nothing, if you throw out a certain hitbox, should it be an up air or a fair? Because if you throw out a fair and they jump over you, or you throw out an up air and they run into you, you should know these things so that when the situation happens, you're not making mistakes and learning on the fly. And I can say from personal experience, and I was talking more so about like top tiers, but this is a very unique case and it actually has cost me games in the past. If Captain Falcon does a jump from the ledge and I do a full hop fair with Falco, I will miss that every single time unless I catch him on the way up. But if he's at his peak and I'm at my peak, I miss and I have to throw out a nair instead because the hitbox is a little bit more vertical rather than horizontal with the fair. So if I throw out that fair and completely miss, I'm missing potentially kills, ledge trap opportunities over and over again, edge guards, or potentially even winning games. And just by knowing, instead of holding forwards and pressing A, I just press A and that can literally win me a game. That's massive. And especially when we're trying to ledge trap based on reaction, very, very rarely are you actually going to catch your opponent on the way up very early in their jump. You're going to catch them more so towards the end of their jump, or maybe at the peak where they could be potentially putting in a double jump or an attack of their own. So hopefully that answers the question pretty well. Also, for anybody who has any more insight on particularly that topic, feel free to leave a comment below just saying how you guys like to ledge trap or how you guys like to practice as well. I really want to try and build a community. I feel like we've already done that pretty well, but build even more of a community of players who are trying to help each other out and answer these questions. And like I said, build a community in the comments. And now for the second half of the question, which is how should I be using my movement for bait and punish? So this is a very broad question, of course. That being said, I have no problem with that. And I do have an answer for how you should be using your movement. I'm going to preface this by saying this is not the only way, but this is how I like to visualize the reason for using movement in a certain way. So when you're playing Smash, both characters are equipped with a burst option zone. And if you've never heard of that before, essentially a burst option zone is if you're standing in place, how far can you reach with one move? What is the farthest distance you can cover? And in most cases, a lot of characters, that move is going to be something like a dash attack or a short hop fair or maybe an F smash, something like that. And some characters obviously have specials that can reach much farther than that, like they have like a charge shot or something like that. So these are different burst option zones you have to worry about based on specific matchups. So I'm going to give you guys some extreme examples so you get the idea pretty easily. So let's first take Byleth, who has a ton of range, and then we'll say another character like Pikachu, who has obviously substantially less range. And so with these burst option zones, you have to try and use your movement to get in and out of your opponent's burst option zone so that they feel that you are in the range in which they would be able to hit you. And so why does that matter? If you know what your opponent could potentially hit you with at a certain range, that should be one of the only things you need to worry about when defending yourself. And so for example, if Byleth is at maximum range in which she can only hit you with side B or F smash, those are the only things you should be worried about when you get into a range in which those moves could come out. If you're playing as Pikachu, if you were to jump into that range, expect one of those moves to come out. So if you're saying to yourself, okay, so let's say if I'm playing as Pikachu and I do a short hop towards Byleth, and I know they're going to side B because that's their longest reaching move in that zone, how do I deal with that? How do I get past that? And thankfully, of course, within Smash's mechanics, moves that have incredible range more often than not have incredible end lag. And so if you are able to, as Pikachu, jump into that burst option zone and bait a side B because you know that if you're close enough for them to do that, that's the only thing they could hit you with. Forward tilt's not going to reach, nair's not going to reach, fair might reach, but it has a much smaller hitbox, so if they're trying to just cover all their bases, they're going to go for a side B. What are you going to do to now punish that? And I'll just quickly say as an aside, if they are throwing out short hop fairs, but you're trying to punish a side B which has much more obvious end lag, this is where you're going to use your movement and drift in and out of those zones until you get to see a side B come out. That's when you're going to dash in and get a grab, dash in and get a dash attack, step back, jump back in and go with a drag down nair into up tilts into combos, whatever you're trying to do. So when you're fighting your opponent, and this is something I do a lot as Falco, I will essentially jump or empty hop right in front of them, in and out of their zone to try and get them to do something so that I can get a grab or a down tilt or a dash attack or whatever it might be. And when you're doing this with your movement, you're kind of creating the illusion that you're actually fighting your opponent when realistically, you're not doing anything. You're just trying to keep your options as open as possible and have as little lag as possible. So of course, if you're not throwing out any moves, you're not going to have any lag. The only potential thing you could get punished for is overextending or jumping too soon, or not being able to retreat too late and actually getting hit by their burst option. And with these burst option zones, they're going to change size with your opponent's toolkit. So for example, if you're across the entire stage, and I use this example all the time when I'm playing as Falco and I'm coaching anybody, if I'm across the entire stage away from you and I'm playing as Falco and you have, let's say, some sort of charge shot, it can be Samus, it can be Mewtwo, it can be Lucario, or even if it's a smaller, it could be something small, it could even just be a Falco Ditto. There's nothing that I need to worry about doing at all except for reflecting, because you cannot hit me from the entire stage with anything except for a projectile. So there's no reason for me to get caught off guard by something being shot at me, even if it feels like it's unreactable, and the zone itself might not be across the entire stage. So if this is me and this is my opponent, let's say this is the entire stage as well. They don't have to be this far away, because of course you can react, you could jump, you could reflect or whatever. But even at this range, for example, if they still can't hit me with a full hop fair or a dash attack or anything like that, the only thing they could still hit me with is only a charge shot. This is the only thing I need to worry about at this range. Even if they're here, even if they're here, even if they're here. If they get to the point where potentially, okay, they could go for a dash attack, they could go for a down tilt, and it might hit me. Now there's more variables involved, and where I can't only think about reflecting, but that's where the zone has changed. So using your movement, and I do this all the time, it's a sliding scale as well, because if we are this far apart and all I have to worry about is reflecting, and let's say I jump up somewhere and they move closer, I still really only need to worry about reflecting. They jump up back here onto, let's say we're playing on Battlefield, I still only need to worry about reflecting. As long as we're staying the same distance away at all times, this is the only thing I need to worry about. And then same thing like I was talking about for the ledge trapping, you want to be in these zones and have a plan way in advance. And the plan can be simple. The plan can even be, like I said before, if I'm this far away from you, all I need to worry about is reflecting. If I'm this close to you or whatever it might be, now if I could potentially get dash grabbed or dash attacked or whatever, now you have to start going for more reads. Like, you should be paying attention for the entire game. What do they like to do when they get into this zone? Because not only obviously can they hit you, but you might be able to hit them. So when they get close to you, do they throw a defensive option, or are they just jumping around as well too? Should you be able to try and squeeze that zone, so if they jump towards you and you jump towards them, you're ready for this interaction, so you can try and catch them off guard. If they jump away from you and you jump towards them and they dash on the ground, what are you going to do to cover that? Are you going to down tilt? Are you going to spot dodge? Are you going to jump and come down with a short hop dare? As all these different situations you should be trying to think about well in advance, so if it happens, you're not freestyling every single time you have one of these interactions. Of course, you can't be prepared for every single thing that ever happens, but in a lot of situations, they are one or two or maybe even 3 hit combos that are very easy to replicate. And so once again, I'll use Falco as an example. If I know that somebody wants to try and break my zone and potentially hit me with like a dash attack, I should know that if they try and go underneath, I'm going to go over top and come down with a short hop dare. Okay, so if I hit them with short hop dare, what happens after that? I have to watch their DI and see, are they going to go in front of me or behind me? If they go behind me, I should know in advance, once I hit this dare, I'm looking for their DI and I'm going to back air. I shouldn't be saying, okay, I'm going to hit them with a dare and hopefully something good happens. Or I'm going to hit them with dare and then I don't know how high they're going to go, or I don't know what direction they're going to go, or anything like that. You shouldn't be getting caught off guard by your own setups. And I know we're kind of veering a little bit away from the bait and punish part of the movement, but this is the actual punish part. We talked about the movement, we talked about the baiting and what the zones are, and then the last part is having your punishes pre-planned. They're not, like I said before, they're not always going to go that way where everything just goes like the stars align and everything is perfect. But if you're not catching yourself off guard, you can say, for example, if somebody goes for a dash grab against you and you're playing as Marth, if you're able to get a short hop dare and you get sweet spot or tipper, you should know that you can up smash and kill them. You should be getting sweet spot dare on a dash grab and then saying, I don't know what to do. Because you could have capitalized way better. You did all the work and got them in the right spot. Make sure you have your punishes more than memorized and well thought out, well in advance. And that's why too, like if you've watched any of my RTS videos where I'm obviously messing around and just making jokes and stuff like that, but something will happen where someone will do one thing and I'll say, oh, he's dead. And then people will say my camera's ahead when it's clearly not. But the thing is, I'm saying right now, I know how this ends provided that I don't mess up. And I'll give you an example. If I'm ledge trapping somebody and they do a get up attack, I'll just say you're dead. because I'm going to be coming down with a short hop dare, then going into a full hop dare and killing you. And there's nothing you can do because, like I said, I'm going in and out of your zone, and then we're kind of just bringing this all full circle, which is fantastic. But I'm going in and out of your zone while ledge trapping you to try and bait you into doing a get up attack because you think you can hit me when I'm in your zone. Moving out of the way using my movement, and I'm punishing with a dare, and my pre-planned dare setup that I know works for a fact is dare into dare, and you're just dead. Like, video done. Like that's literally perfect. There's no other way to really explain it better than that, honestly. But yeah, honestly, with that, I think I'm gonna end the video right there. I really do appreciate these questions, and just based on how the format of this series is going, I had no idea how in depth I would be able to answer these questions, so I really did ask for a lot of them. Some of these questions have overlapped. If you looked at the community post that I put out a little while ago, or if you're in the Discord and you're putting out questions and stuff like that, please be sure to try your best and read the other questions and at least try and word yours in a way that's not quite the same, because a lot of you guys were asking, how do you make reads? What do you think about when you're fighting someone for the first time? What do you do, like even for the ledge trapping? The ledge trapping kind of falls into the making reads category. Nothing wrong with that at all. I love these questions, but I want to try my absolute best to give you guys not the same video over and over again. So if I don't answer your question, I apologize, but please try to understand that I don't want to, like I said, put out the same video over and over again, answering the same question. And lastly, I also want to say, for anybody who is interested in the Medal of Smash and you want to see the progress that I'm doing with making the album, please follow me on Twitter at MoS_Trixx. I'm going to be uploading very primitive videos, like just stuff from like my phone to give you guys updates. As eventually I'm going to be putting everything on Apple Music, Spotify, all that good stuff. It's going to be a while still, but for anyone who's interested in seeing what I've been working on and not just the pipe dream that might exist one day, yeah, check it out on Twitter. I'm going to be posting on there quite a bit. And also, please be sure to join the Discord if you haven't already. Once again, this is Trixx from MoS Smash, saying thanks for watching the video, and please be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this.